On the day of my birthday party, my boyfriend was busy getting engaged to another woman.
I'm sorry that Harv can't be with you today, Sammy. He's getting engaged to me. Don't worry, though. It's just a formality. This is the 100th wish he's helping me fulfill. I hope you don't mind.
Tiana Lowe sends me a video along with that voice message. My boyfriend exchanges rings with her before kissing her passionately. I immediately call him and snap. What the hell do you mean by that, Harvey Linton? He gets angry.
Can you stop being so jealous all the time? I can celebrate your birthday with you every year, but Tiana only has 100 wishes. I have to help her fulfill them.
I snap. Fine then. I wish you two will be together forever. After hanging up on my fiancé, Harvey Linton, I noticed that my friends who were present were looking at me with sympathy. My best friend Madeline Gardner complained, "Is Harvey still not here? Can we go ahead and cut the cake first?" I shook my head and held up my phone to let my friend see the engagement video that Tiana Lowe had posted on her social media. He's not coming. He's too busy getting engaged to Tiana. Madeline immediately flew into a rage. Is this for real? How can you put up with this, Sammy? I smiled wryly and said, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm breaking up with Harvey today. Come on, let's celebrate my newfound freedom. Having said that, I promptly invited my friends to have some cake. Madeline, looking incredibly relieved, exclaimed, "You should have dumped him ages ago." I nodded in agreement, regretting not having listened to Madeline's advice sooner. In fact, when Harvey and I first got together, everyone around me opposed it. They had said that Harvey's domineering personality and ambition weren't a match for a docile girl like me. Yet, I stubbornly disregarded their advice. As a result, I foolishly wasted 5 years of my youth clinging to this obsession, only to finally let it go. After the party wrapped up, I headed back to my place. Suddenly, I received a call from Harvey, which could be considered a rare occurrence. If it were before this, I would have quickly answered the call and reacted excitedly. Yet, at this moment, I let the phone ring a few times before I indifferently picked it up. Why did it take you so long to pick up? Harvey sounded impatient over the phone. I brushed off his question and asked, "What's the matter? How can you even have the nerve to ask me that? What exactly were you trying to say when you sarcastically wished Tiana and me a lifetime of happiness on the phone?" I sneered and said, "I said what I said. You heard me. Is there anything else? If not, I'm done here." Harvey, filled with anger, snapped, "You better not hang up on me or else. You want to break up?" I finished his words for him. "Is that what you're trying to say?" I was about to say the same thing anyway, even if you didn't bring it up. "It's over between us." "What did you just say?" Harvey asked incredulously. After that, he sneered and added, "Do you think you can manipulate me into giving in by changing your approach, Samantha? I've repeatedly made it clear that there's nothing going on between Tiana and me. It's just that she has a list of 100 wishes that I'm obligated to fulfill for her, and the engagement ceremony is her last wish. After this, I won't have anything to do with her." I sneered and asked, "Is that so? If that's the case, where are you right now?" Harvey was stunned into silence. At that very moment, I could hear Tiana's coquettish voice saying, "I've prepared the bath for you, Harv. Why don't you go wash up while I explain everything to Sammy?" After saying that, Tiana took the phone from Harvey and said, "It's all a misunderstanding, Sammy. I saw how tired Harv was after a long day, so I booked him a room to rest for the night. I assure you that I wouldn't do anything to come between you two." I nodded and retorted sarcastically, "It turns out that you guys actually checked into a hotel together. I guess I'll believe that you're both innocent, and perhaps the engagement was merely to fulfill a wish, and the kiss was just a formality. If you guys ended up sleeping together, I guess it was because it was chilly, huh? If you happen to have a child later, I'm sure it's all because of a drunken mistake, right?" Upon hearing the sarcasm in my tone, Tiana burst into tears. "It's really a misunderstanding, Sammy. What else can I say to convince you?" I replied calmly, "You don't need to explain anything to me. I've already ended things with Harvey. You better keep an eye on him, and make sure he doesn't bother me in the future." Tiana cried even harder. "Did I mess things up, Harv? Seems like Sammy wants to break up with you." Harvey immediately grabbed the phone from her and roared, "Samantha Lane, how dare you pick on Tiana? You better apologize to her right now." I sneered and said, "Apologize? What for? Am I supposed to apologize to you because you're a despicable ex, or because she's a lowly woman who steals my fiancé?" Tiana cried hysterically, her voice filled with anguish as she shouted, "I'm not a mistress. You're being so mean, Sammy." Upon hearing that, Harvey was infuriated. "You've gone too far this time, Samantha," he roared. "How dare you insult both me and Tiana? It's officially over between us. You better not show up crying and begging for me to take you back." With that, he abruptly ended the call. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Harvey had always been very prideful. Given that he was the one who initiated the breakup, he would never take the initiative to reconcile with me. It would also save me the trouble of getting caught up with him. If we were going to end things, we should have a clean break. I spent the night packing my things, getting ready to leave the place we had once called home. It wasn't until I started packing that I realized how many traces Tiana had left on every part of the house. I got engaged to Harvey a year ago. He then bought this place and asked me to move in with him, which I happily did. In the beginning, our days together were filled with joy. It was then that we started making plans for the wedding. It wasn't until 6 months ago, when Tiana returned from abroad, that everything changed. At that moment, she played on Harvey's guilt, presenting him with a list of 100 wishes for him to fulfill. And with each wish fulfilled, they became even closer. It started with having meals, watching movies, and traveling together. Then it progressed to holding hands, kissing, having a pre-wedding photo shoot, getting engaged, and spending the night in the hotel together. It was obvious that Tiana had a long-term goal in mind with such a meticulously thought-out plan. Meanwhile, on the bedside table in the master bedroom, there were no longer any pictures of us as a couple. It was now replaced with Harvey and Tiana's pre-wedding photo. It had also been ages since I shared any physical intimacy with Harvey. After all, every time I looked up, I caught sight of Tiana's face and her scrutinizing gaze. That immediately made me lose my desire to get intimate with him. I had thrown away her photos numerous times, which would often lead to heated arguments with Harvey. Yet, Tiana would always find a way to convince him to replace them with new ones on the following day. As a result, I developed depression and moved out of the master bedroom, sleeping in a separate room from Harvey. Before long, our relationship gradually deteriorated and became nothing more than a formality. It wasn't just the photos though. Even the color of the bedsheets and the design of the curtains were also to Tiana's liking. All the furniture that I had personally chosen before was gradually replaced with furnishings that Tiana preferred, with Harvey finding various excuses to do so. It was a heart-wrenching discovery as I realized that I no longer had a place in this home. It was clear that Tiana had her sights set on being the lady of this house from the moment she returned from abroad. Could Harvey really be so blind to her ambitions? It was highly unlikely since no man could be so emotionally obtuse. He must have known Tiana's true intentions, even if he was initially unaware of it. I had warned him repeatedly, so Harvey knew exactly what was going on. Yet, he still turned a blind eye to Tiana's intentions. His attitude had made it clear that our relationship was doomed. I didn't have that many belongings in the house to begin with, so it only took me half an hour to pack all my belongings. As soon as I turned off the lights and started to wheel my suitcase out of the master bedroom, I was startled by the strange glow reflecting off the photo frame. It was then that I suddenly recalled. A few months ago, whenever Harvey and I got intimate, Tiana would suddenly become ill and be admitted to the hospital. Harvey would then be her constant companion in the hospital for the following week. How could there be such a coincidence? Tiana must have tampered with that photo frame. My hands were shaking as I pried open the photo frame and took out Tiana and Harvey's pre-wedding photo. As I did, a spy camera slipped out and fell onto the floor. I picked it up, removed the memory card, and inserted it into the computer. The video immediately started playing, showing scenes of Harvey and I getting intimate. Our conversations were also recorded, down to the last word. I was trembling as I watched the video, overwhelmed with fear and fury. Tiana was completely out of her mind. How could she actually commit such a crime just to be with Harvey? In any case, with this evidence, I could report Tiana to the police. Yet, as I was about to turn off the computer and pull out the memory card, the bedroom door suddenly swung open. Harvey then rushed in, carrying a new photo frame. I took a quick look at the photo he was holding, and sure enough, it was another intimate photo of him and Tiana. If it were before this, I would have been heartbroken and jealous about it. Yet, at that moment, I felt completely indifferent toward his infidelity. It was then that I realized that Tiana had probably noticed that the spy camera had been damaged, so she wasted no time in putting up a new one. However, I had already made up my mind to leave this place. It meant that she could no longer keep tabs on me, and could only watch Harvey now. I felt no obligation to warn him about being monitored though. Thus, I closed the video on the computer, or so I thought, somehow started playing the video again, and the steamy scenes and sounds eventually drew Harvey's attention. It was at that moment that he noticed me sitting at the desk, messing with the computer. "Samantha Lane, what are you doing sneaking around in my bedroom?" His thunderous roar startled me, making my heart race. I was just packing up my stuff. I tried closing the video on the computer again, but to no avail. Suddenly froze, and then the video started playing by itself again. After he turned on the lights, Harvey's eyes blazed with anger as he caught sight of the video. "You've gone too far, Samantha. How can you secretly film our intimate moments? How shameless. Do you really think you can blackmail me with this and make me stay in this relationship? Don't you even think about it. Do you really believe I'd let you hold that over me? If you're willing to sacrifice your dignity, feel free to share those videos. I might be criticized for being promiscuous, but you'll be the one with the ruined reputation." I glared at him coldly and then pointed at my suitcase, saying, "You don't have to be so full of yourself, Harvey. I've already ended things with you, so there's no need for me to use this video to threaten you. And you're right. This kind of video won't help me at all. I'm not that foolish to believe otherwise. Besides, this video was captured by your darling Tiana. I bet you didn't see that coming." Harvey looked at me incredulously and then glanced at my suitcase. How could Tiana have filmed something like that? It was just the two of us being intimate in that video, so there's no way she could have done that. You're just trying to pin this on her out of spite. I knew he wouldn't believe me, so I took advantage of his distraction, grabbed the new photo frame from the bedside table, and smashed it on the floor. Harvey immediately roared, "Enough is enough, Samantha. Who do you think you are, breaking?" Yet, before he could even finish his sentence, a spy camera tumbled out of the broken photo frame. Harvey was stunned into silence. "Do you see it now, Harvey? Your darling Tiana has resorted to all kinds of unsavory actions just to keep you by her side. And I'm sure there's more where this came from. Although I've already ended things with you, I advise you to think carefully about being with Tiana. Do you really want to be with someone who would do something like this?" After saying that, I removed the memory card from the computer and dragged my suitcase out the door. At that moment, Harvey suddenly grabbed my hand and said frantically, "Wait, Sammy, you can't leave yet. Download Good Novel and search 78664 to read more."